Love, love, love. That's what it's all about. That's a song that children sing. But the love we hear about in today's gospel story is not some kind of sentimental, romantic kind of love that causes us to leave the pain and suffering of this world. The love we hear about in today's gospel is the love that led Jesus to his cross and numerous martyrs to shed their blood for their faith in him. Thomas Carlyle, the Scottish essayist and historian, wrote about a lofty philosopher sitting in his high attic at midnight, looking at all of the pain and suffering of 500,000 people struggling in the earth below. But he said, I sit above it all. I am alone with the stars. Anyone who hears Christ's command to love can never afford that lofty luxury. Jesus made it clear, if you wish to come after me, you must take up your cross, deny yourself, and follow in my steps. So for me, to love God changes the priorities in my life. I don't go to church on Sundays as a duty or obligation, but it's my opportunity to give God worship and praise. Daily prayer and Bible reading are no longer meaningless habits that I perform daily, but it's my lifeline in my growth and relationship with God. And I no longer give God the loose change in my pocket as an offering, but like the Magi of old, I give to God an offering suitable for a king, and that costs something. My favorite story takes place in an old medieval cathedral. An old priest told his parishioners that the next evening he was going to have a prayer service, and the theme was the love of God. So the next evening, as the parishioners huddled in the darkened church, they were surprised when they saw the old priest walk out into the middle of the sanctuary carrying a stepladder and a lantern. He placed the stepladder beneath the huge crucifix which hung above the altar. He climbed to the top and he let the light shine on the right nail print of the hand of Jesus. Then he brought it to the left hand. He climbed a little further and he let the light shine on the crown of thorns that pierced the Savior's brow. Then he brought the lantern down to the spear wound in his side and finally to the nail wounds in his feet. And the priest climbed down into the sanctuary and broke the silence with these words, "Can we do any less?" Every time we speak about loving God, God always lays upon us a horizontal dimension. He says, if you are going to love me, then you must express that love to your sister and brother. Dostoevsky tells about a woman evangelist who traveled Russia, talking about the love of God. Yet that same person couldn't stand to be in the same room with another person. She complained that one man slurped a soup, a woman cackled when she laughed, and another snored when he slept. So the great author said, although she loved God in general, she couldn't stand people in particular. And that will never do. We can never love God if we do not love our neighbor. In Johann Boher's story, The Great Hunger, an illustration is given to show how to love each other. An antisocial newcomer moved into a rural community. He put up a fence around his property and no trespassing signs, warning them for intruders. And to further ensure his privacy, he put a fierce guard dog behind the fence. Well, one day, his next-door neighbor's little girl crawled under the fence because she wanted to pet the dog. The fierce dog grabbed her by the throat and killed her. The community was outraged. They ostracized that unfriendly neighbor. No one spoke to him. Clerks refused to wait on him. In the spring, No one sold him any grain for his field. He was destitute. Then, one day, he looked out his window, and he saw another man sowing seed in his field. He rushed only to discover it was the father of the little girl. He said, "Why are you doing this, you of all people?" "I'm doing it," said the father, "to keep the love of God alive in me." In that forgiving deed, the Father found healing and life. And so shall it be for all who love God and express that love to their neighbor.